So in addition to the turmoil in the Middle East, our nation is also dealing with a border crisis. A recent report from the Biden administration detailing a record-setting nearly 250,000 unvetted illegal migrants streaming into the country in December alone. And recently, in a letter to Congress, 10 retired FBI directors and counterintelligence experts warned of a soft invasion of the United States at the southern border by thousands of military-aged men who must be, quote, removed without delay, end quote, in order to prevent a terror attack. It all begs the question, is our nation in for another terrorist attack here at home?
Here to discuss, let's welcome in retired Supervisory Border Patrol agent Frank Lopez Jr. Also joining us is investigative reporter at the Daily Caller News Foundation, Jenny Terr. Welcome to Wake Up America Weekend to the both of you. Thank you for joining us. Frank, we all watched Israel attacked horrifically by Hamas terrorists from within on October 7th. The United States seems to be dealing with record high illegal crossings each month, including 50 migrants on the terror watch list who were apprehended since October. So could this country be in for something similar? Maybe not to that extent, but is there a concern with having an open border just to anyone?
Yeah, so definitely, look, watching your previous segment on Iran, Iran has had their operatives in Latin America, South America for decades now. Our open border has been a magnet for these operatives. We saw in New York City the attacks on those police officers. We saw the uprisings or the demonstrations on college campuses following the Israel-Hamas conflict. Iran is behind this. They see us as soft. There is a propensity towards violence that comes with these people. I served 30 years on the border. As the Haitians were coming across in 2021, I was looking at their eyes, looking at their body behavior, the way that they were, hanging out together, and I saw many criminal elements, not just with the Haitians, with the subsequent groups, Venezuelans, Colombians, South Americans, people from all over the world, Africans. So we are a soft target. And look, folks, that's why I'm running for Congress. People can visit U.S. Border Patriot on the southern border. The largest district in Texas is up for grabs with the against the incumbent Tony Gonzalez. And Governor Abbott has declared, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the Constitution. We should not delay the next step now that he is already in a, political war going on with the Biden administration here. We need to take the next step, gather these people up as they cross a river, repel them, take them to the nearest port of entry, return them. We cannot admit delay. That's what that section of the Constitution says. The danger is here. It is imminent, and we need to act.
Jenny, let me come over to you now. Joe Kent, a congressional candidate and ex-CIA official, warned Iranian proxies responsible for the deaths of these 3 American service members in Jordan last week have certainly already penetrated our borders. That's a quote. Are Iranian terrorists or their proxies now a legitimate threat from within our own border?
Well, I will tell you, we exclusively reported earlier this week that an al-Shabaab terrorist had made their way through the southern border, was caught by Border Patrol in March, was actually released after they determined he was a mismatch, was completely incorrect. He was not a mismatch on the terror watch list, and ICE found that out in January. And they just a few days ago nabbed this guy in Minnesota. So absolutely, there are terror threats coming across the southern border. And Border Patrol was also warned in a memo that we obtained earlier after the October 7th terrorist attack that there could be Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and Hezbollah terrorists crossing.
Oh,
that is
that's
massively concerning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. And al-Shabaab?
Yeah, you're talking about the worst of the worst between Hamas, al-Shabaab. They have no regard for human life.
None whatsoever. And Frank, recently we saw a mob of illegal migrants in New York City brazenly assault police officers. With most of them, you can see those visuals there, it's awful. Most of them were released without bail. 4 of them have escaped New York City, boarding a bus to California. So are we seeing a real breakdown of law and order here where these unvetted criminals can run rampant in America?
So definitely, look, I've been down here reporting on the border since Biden became president, right immediately after I retired from the Border Patrol. And so lawlessness breeds lawlessness. And so when we don't have order, we don't have consequences. Criminals, foreign nations, hostile nations are emboldened. And Biden is so weak on so many elements, our military, the border, the economy. And so, yes, we are soft targets. Look at Florida. Gangs are fleeing Florida because they know there will be consequences. There have to be consequences. That's why we're asking Governor Biden, Governor Abbott down here, to take the next step, expel people, repel them, but expel them, get them out of the country. It is clearly a national security threat, a threat to the public safety. And so we have to act immediately. And they're not going to find these people. Once they get into the country, they disappear. It'll be a lot of hard work to root these people out and bring them to justice for those assaults in New York City.
Jenny, I got 30 seconds left. Just quickly, Governor Hochul came out, governor of New York, and said that we should have held them for bail and so on. But she's the one that supports these sanctuary cities. Under her watch, she could remove the DA in New York City that didn't give bail, but she just gives lip service. Are we just in for more of this with these same liberal prosecutors that don't want to prosecute crime?
Well, right. And I think the biggest takeaway here is that migrants see all of this south of the border, and they see what they can get away with if they come here, if there are criminal elements of these migrant crossings. And so they see that a migrant committed a crime, then was released on these bail laws, and then flips the bird at the cameras. I mean, that's the message that the state of New York and New York City is sending to migrants.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right point.
We have to leave it there. Frank Lopez Jr., Jennifer Terra, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.